Hey everybody, welcome back to another AMA with Blockstar. Today we're happy to have TrueDefi with us. We're gonna get together today and we're gonna go through and look at their project and the team behind that project. They've already launched back on July the 6th, so we want to go through and see how they're doing. I'm here today with Matt from TrueDefi. Matt, if you just want to give us a little bit about your background and how you got into the crypto space.
Oh yeah, I got into crypto around 2017. It was just shortly before the crash of 18. Um, mainly just getting into like the blue chips and the starter crypto. Your bitcoins, your Ethereum, stuff like that. Um, and then of course the crash came, 2018. So my portfolio dropped by a bunch, which everybody did. And I didn't really do much from there. Just kind of some side trading on stuff that had some decent volatility, moving up and down. Working my investments into better positions. For the market. Because on stuff like that, you can make trades and stuff like that, and be able to lower your dollar cost average by doing that way. When you're not talking about DeFi, of course, there's no tax involved. So I went through that round, and then of course in 2021, whenever DeFi really got kicked with SafeMoon, that's when I really got into it hard. I actually bought SafeMoon, when it launched, and like I said, that's what got me tied into the space because I loved what DeFi is and what DeFi is doing and what it's going to do in the future. So that's what tied me into crypto. That's what really pulled me in. Um, so from there, of course, I joined different projects as mods. I was actually a mod for SafeMoon there for a while, and then ended up going to a couple other, tokens that was running. Kind of getting a feel of the space, seeing what works, what don't work, type of deal. And then I ended up, me and four of my friends, we made a group on Telegram called Rebel Traders. It was, just a group that we could present projects and, the legitimate ones. We wasn't going after the memes or the scams and stuff like that. It was stuff that we could see that had utility that was going to do something in the future. And through that is where I got into Solidity. Whenever we decided to do our own token for like a governance over, the Rebel Traders. So, that was back in August 2021. Um, from there, I increased my Solidity skills, teamed up with some good people, and of course, being in DeFi, one of the biggest problems of DeFi is, of course, contract sales. So that's kind of where True DeFi come from, which we'll get into that shortly. But that's kind of my background in crypto in general.
No, that's awesome. So it looks like you've seen both parts, the good times and the bad times of crypto, especially if you got in back in 2017 and watched that portfolio just drop off to mere nothing and then watch it rally back in 2021. So it's good to see that you've been in the space and everything and getting that knowledge behind you in the DeFi space and then also learning Solidity. I can't stress that enough. As a project owner myself, as having people with the ability to understand how smart contracts are written and what their functions are. So I commend you for that. So I'm super excited to get into your project. Tell us a little bit about True DeFi and what made you guys come up with the idea of getting away from the contract cells.
Okay, well, like I said, being in multiple projects as far as modding and learning about them and all that stuff, one of the biggest things that's plagued the DeFi space, of course, is the way the smart contracts are currently set up. Using a swap liquefy function to be able to sell the tokens collected from tax, to be able to convert that back to the native chain to send out to whether it's marketing or dev or rewards if it's a rewarding token. So by watching that swap and liquefy every time you see a project launch, you've got a bunch of buy pressure coming in. Nobody's selling at the start, so the contract's really getting loaded with tokens from the tax.
Sure.
Then, of course, as soon as that first sale comes in, your first swap liquefy happens. Now, of course, depending on how the smart contract's set up, some set a threshold to where it sells a certain amount of tokens each time the swap liquefy hits. Uh,
Correct. Yep.
some tokens, swap all the tokens at one time. It just depends on how it's set up. So, of course, all that buy pressure coming in, People's buying in, and it's buying in with the tax. So you got the price impact with the tax included. So the next person that buys in at a higher price, counting that impact, and it goes up from there.
Sure.
So the chart is overinflated, especially at launch whenever the buys are coming in. And then, of course, the contract sales that's going to happen as soon as the first sales start coming in, it
Right.
drops. So by seeing that, that's something that, I've wanted to find a way to fix for, since I've been in DeFi, or since I really got to understand how it works. So this is something that I've been tinkering with ever since I got into really doing Solidity.
Yep.
And me and my partner teamed up. He's been in the dev space for a long time, really really sharp contracts, and so we started working together to try and figure out how we could fix this and what's the easiest way to fix this. Of course, you've seen a couple projects come out that created their own LP pools and routers and all that stuff, and
Yep.
most of them failed miserably due to an exploit where they try to change something that's tried and true.
Right.
And that stuff happens. I mean, if you're trying to innovate the space, things can happen. That's part of it. But we knew that there had to be a way we could do it without having the own LP pool, and how to be able to still use the dexes that have been tried and true, that are working like they're supposed to, that don't have exploits. So that's what we concentrated on.
Sure.
And that's where we come up with TrueDefi. We actually had it first working back in, I guess it was April, to where we were happy with how it worked, and we knew it was good and safe. So that's when we actually broke the shell of what we're doing. So we actually started implementing it on some projects that I've been associated with, or done contract work for, or dev work for, and we implemented the tech on their projects before we even launched TrueDefi.
Right.
To give a utility that's working, because the token wasn't even a thought at the time. It was trying to find a way to fix this.
Sure.
And then once I realized that it's something that really needs to be fixed, and something that can be profitable for a token wise, that's when TrueDefi come about.
Right.
So we make these swappers that allow you to still be able to have your LP on PancakeSwap, but anything that goes through the swapper contracts that we created, it takes the tax ahead of time in the native chain, because it works across all EVM chains, not just BSC.
Right.
So it takes the tax ahead of time, then makes the trade, and then sends it back to the user all in one transaction. In that same transaction, it splits up the tax that's collected in BNB and sends it out to the project wallets all at the same time. So there's no tokens held, there's no LP held, there's no BNB or whatever native chain it is held. It's all done seamlessly in one transaction. So that's what makes it unhackable. There's nothing there to hack.
Right. So was that done? So just real quick, just to kind of catch up on that. So is that done on the back end? Because obviously you have to have your swapper to be able to do this. At some point, there's still going to be a sell. Is that done on the back of a transaction somewhere?
Yeah, well, okay, so let's put it this way to kind of clear that up. Because when you say contractless, contractless or contract sellless, there's still sales. People are selling.
Right.
But it's not the taxes getting sold. That's where people misconstrued that. It's not going to be a chart that only goes up because there's no sales. That's not how it works.
Right.
So your normal token, let's say it just has a 10% tax, and you go to sell. So normally when you go to sell on a 10% tax, it will sell 90% of the tokens that you're selling, and it'll send 10 back to the contract. Well, the way we're doing it, it's going to sell depending on what your LP set out. So let's say if there's a 10% tax and 2% is going to LP, then it'll sell 99% of the tokens whenever somebody goes to sell.
Okay.
It'll hold back 1% for half of the pairing of LP that it's going to send in. And then the BNB comes back to the swapper. That's where the tax gets taken at that point, and the BNB gets sent back to the seller. It also pairs that 1% of tokens it kept with the equal amount of BNB needed to send
Right.
into, as well as it sends, the project tax wallets all their taxes. So by doing it this way,
You're not doing a cumulative sell. It's based on each individual.
exactly.
Yep.
And then buys, there is no taxes or is no tokens collected.
Because you're
So it
doing it right at the very beginning of the transaction. Is that correct?
exactly.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
uh,
I'm very, very familiar with what you guys do. Believe it, we tend to ask some tough questions here and everything. So there are other projects out there that have been able to implement this directly into their contracts to be able to take the taxes up front or be able to sell them on the back, so it doesn't actually show on the contract. Very similar to what you guys are doing. I think it's a great thing for the space and everything. Some of the nefarious aspects of it, though, not that you guys would do that, but some of the nefarious aspects would be also being able to do it from team wallets and everything as well. How do you guys combat against that about teams bringing and using your swapper and everything to not show that those are team cells as it would normally list on like Dex tools and PooCoin that the team sold because they would be going through your swapper?
yeah, of course, it's kind of a trust thing.
Sure.
You've got trust, and to me, if you're investing in a project, it's because you've learned the team, you know the team, and you're investing in the team. Of course that there's nefarious people out there, so that's why any project that we're going to be dealing with is going to be projects that are willing to give their name up and show who they are, and be able to trust that team as far as that goes.
Sure.
Now,
So do you
mention
guys have like a KYC process or an auditing process or a vetting process? And because you're only going to list specific projects, is that correct? You're going to vet the projects. Is there a KYC to you guys that's required for anybody that's looking to use your swapper?
we haven't set a KYC yet, mainly because the projects that we are working with right now are projects that I know,
Sure.
and now, of course, as we build out, which we're starting to get some coming in that we don't know, that's when it's not going to be necessarily a KYC setup. It's going to be more of a judgment call on our aspect of what we feel and how they present themselves. If they are hidden dev, hidden owner, not going to give up their name, at least to us, not going to get on video and talk with us whenever we're setting up their deal.
Sure.
It's not a project we're going to deal with. So it's kind of I guess a KYC in a sense, but we're not going to go to the aspects of pulling people's Ds and passports and all that stuff. At least that's not in the realm. Now, who's to say we won't turn that into that in the future? But it's not something that we've looked at this moment.
Right. So what I would be able to venture to say you guys can also work with older contracts too that don't have the ability that aren't doing, like I said, I know a few projects that have been able to do this successfully as well. But your real key target market is some of those older projects that don't have the ability without launching a whole new token to be able to do this as well, right? So you guys would just be whitelisted inside of their contract to be able to use your swapper. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Like I said, the first three projects that we implemented were already existing running projects.
Sure.
LPs already in Pancake Swap and already locked and all that. So we can do this on any project. It doesn't have to be a new launch. It can be an existing. Like I said, one advantage of the new launches is the way we do it. It keeps the chance of bots being able to come in and buy. That's one of the biggest problems. That's the second biggest problem that we see on launches. You've got the contracts that are getting set now that jump in and buy with like 10 wallets at one time
Sure.
in our block. Using our TrueDefi swappers, they can't do that with a new launch.
Do you guys have like a cooldown setting? Is that how you combat that?
No, it's how the launch is set up with the swapper. See, normally a bots trigger on your LP setup.
Yep.
They trigger on a function call from the contract to be able to buy when it goes live.
Right.
Since ours runs through a swapper, and that's the only thing that deals with Pancake Swap, they can't do that. That's out of the question. And the second thing is it's a total separate contract from the token contract. So
Right.
that is not known until we publish it.
So
So
that would require the projects to make sure that all of their users went through your swapper and not went and used Pancake Swap, because they would have the ability technically to be able to use both. Is that correct?
no, we actually have made it to where you can disable pancake swap trading
So
and
their
go.
router.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, like I said, it's all according to what the project wants that we're implementing it on. TrueDefi itself, LP is on Pancake Swap, but PCS is disabled. You can't trade with anybody else but our swap itself. We have two ways to do it. We have our DApp, which a lot of people have seen and used. Very clean and works very well. But of course, some people, they don't like dApps. They don't like connecting their wallets to anything.
Sure.
That's the second thing we established and fixed. With our token, you don't have to connect to anything if you don't want to. It is a true swapper address, meaning you can buy and sell just by sending to that swapper address. So if you want to buy tokens, you just send the native chain token, BNB, directly to it. You'll receive the tokens automatically. If you decide you want to sell, you just send the amount of tokens you want to sell directly to that address, and it sells them for you, and you get the BNB back.
Right. So there would be no Web3 connection. All you would do is send them directly to them. I'm assuming that there's a lot of education behind that, because obviously in the crypto space, nobody ever wants to just send crypto to it directly to another wallet or even within inside of a DApp and everything, because they never know if they're going to get it back. So I'm assuming you guys are putting out some education and marketing around that as well. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Education is a big part. Changing the space is a big part of adoption as we move forward. Everybody right now is stuck in this one mindset. This is how it's got to be. We've got to do it this way. But the thing is we're never going to get in a broader scale if we don't change and adapt to that. So to me, this is what the space needs. It needs change. It needs to be able to adapt. Now, of course, the biggest thing is safety, like you said. There's been tons of nefarious dApps put out that takes people's money,
Sure.
and that's the thing that's why we went with the second option to buy and sell, because it's just sending directly from your wallet, not connecting. And of course, you're not sending to a wallet; it's an actual contract.
Right. An actual contract. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it does make it a little bit, I guess, easier to understand that you're not sending it to a person. A person is not making your transaction for you. This is a smart contract that does it automatically for you. But like you said, education is the biggest thing, and we'll have a bunch of videos rolling out with educating of how to use and all that stuff. But of course, most of the people that's been around and knows me in the space, I've created a ton of swappers for projects prior to setting up TrueDefi. Of course, they were simply a buy only. You could send
Right.
BNB, buy it, it sends the tokens back to you, and that's what it did.
Yeah, I was excited when I was looking at your contract not to see a blacklist option. I think that's very important from a DApp and what you guys are trying to build out and everything, and creating that trust, not being able to see that as a function within inside of the contract. So I commend you for that. I also did see in here several different things where you would set whitelist. What scenario would there be a reason to set a whitelist inside of the DApp?
Yeah, the setting the whitelist is generally whenever we set a swapper itself. That's the only thing that gets whitelisted. We don't whitelist wallets to be able to sell. We've upgraded our DApp and our swapper a couple times because we found new stuff we wanted to do and new stuff that we're coming out with that we haven't even announced yet. That the swapper itself needed to be updated to be able to handle what we're going to be doing. But as far as wallet wise, no, there's no wallets getting whitelisted. And of course, you
Right.
can.
Just real quick on that. So there would be no whitelist for wallets and everything. This would be for future contracts and stuff like that you need to interact with the current setup that you guys have. You would be able to implement that and then have a whitelisted contract. Is that correct?
Exactly. Because we've got like one thing we do is an airdrop function. where we send tokens out to people that are doing buying volume. Anybody that's buying, over the course of the 7-day period that we have set up, they get a ranking all right on our DApp, and they get a kickback for their buying volume of a various percent depending on where they rank. So stuff like that. It's whitelisted to be able to run the functions that's needed. Um, so, um, but
So
as far as whitelisting wallets, that's not something, that's one of the biggest things. And the good thing is it's all seen on BSC.
right,
If you how to look on BSC, you can see what got whitelisted, and you can go to it and be like, well, that wallet just sold,
sure.
that type of thing. So
So one question, from an investor standpoint, if I wanted to come on and be an investor, for anybody that's new out there watching this, they wanted to come in and be an investor in TrueDefi. What is the what do I get as an investor? What is my return for investing in TrueDefi? How am I rewarded?
okay, so of course, TrueDefi is the utility. That's where we set it up on. So all the projects, like right now, we've got 5 projects running TrueDefi. Um, those projects, all the volume that runs through those swappers, there's a 5% fee, or not 5%, a 0.5% fee that gets adapted into their tokenomics. That 0.5% fee comes back to TrueDefi and will be used for buys and burns and stuff that benefits the token and the price. So that's the biggest thing, is that we've set this up with a revenue stream that's going to come in to the token, for the investors that see what we're doing.
Sure. Now, is that an automatic buy, or does it just accumulate and then you guys do planned buyback and burns?
Yeah, it's not automatic. There's of course that scary word that people come up with from the SEC that has guaranteed stuff that happens. They classify you as certain things. We're not that. That's one of the reasons why it's not complete automatic. We, like we stated in the white paper, it's going to benefit the token, which the only thing we've done so far is buys and burns, if that makes any sense.
Yep. So, do you guys have any type of staking? Are you planning on releasing any type of NFTs with the project? And what does the future of True DeFi look like beyond just the swapper?
Okay, so it's funny that you mentioned staking, because our contract itself is an auto staking contract. We're actually bringing in the supply through an elastic base for a 600 period since we launched.
Yeah, I noticed the rebase in there. Yep.
Yep. It's an automatic function. It's not a negative, it doesn't drop the amount of tokens at any point. It's all hard coded and automatic. It was a simple enable that we did right after launch, and it runs for 600 days. And it started at a 1,200% APY, and it goes down over the 600 days till it goes to zero. That, like I said, all that's automated. There's nothing that's changeable. We don't have the ability to adjust it. We hard coded everything, so everybody knows exactly what's going to happen.
So all they need to do is hold it in their wallet for that period of time, and it's going to go down, not necessarily up. So,
So it's their token account's going to go up.
no,
There's
I
net.
understand. So holding for like the first week, I may be eligible for that 1,200 as it's going down day by day, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
what is the benefit of holding for that entire 600 days or whatever it is? Because I'm getting less and less every day when we get closer to the end of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so of course, when we hit the end of it, we become deflationary completely. And of course, we're going to be having the buy and burns and stuff running all the way up to that. So the chance of us actually having, which we will never reach the total supply that originally was going to be there, because we've already done some buys and burns.
Right.
So, and of course, looking at the tokenomics, I'm sorry, I'm coughing. I'm still getting over COVID I had like 3 weeks ago.
That's all right.
Uh,
We're just glad to have you, buddy.
oh yeah, but the uh, at when it ends, it's going to be net deflationary. So the LP, like you see in the tokenomics, of course, is high. We're putting 4% in on the buys in the LP, and we're putting 6% in on the sales. The reason we're doing that is for the simple fact of because we're bringing in the supply as we go. We didn't launch it all the same day. Most of the tokens that used Rebase killed the concept with giving some crazy APYs and all this crazy numbers, out to people. The actual use of the Rebase like it's supposed to be is a perfect way for a long-term project to be able to bring in their supply, to be able to build as they go, to bring in volume, to overcome that increase in supply.
Right. Just to
And
go
with
back to that one point real quick, that way I don't get too far ahead. So
yeah,
the 12% APY, I'm just trying to look at it from an investor standpoint. So there's no reward for holding for the entire time to get the max amount of the APY, right? Because you're getting it right up front, and then it decreases instead of going from a lower APY and then increasing to that 1200. Is that correct?
yeah, that's correct. Like I said, there's no concept of holding that part of it. It's the point of that if you bought on day one at the day 600, you're going to have almost 20x your amount of tokens.
Right.
Uh, and of course, the buying volume and the buys and burns and all that stuff is what plays an effect in what you have in the end.
Sure.
So just think about it this way: if we just maintain the price we're running at right now, in 600 days, you've 20 extra money.
Right. Do you have a concern if all those people that have that 20x their money and everything that come back and dump? Because I would think that it will require volume within inside the project to be able to sustain a 1200% APY.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the APY is falling from day one.
Right.
It's not a constant. It actually it changes on day 7 every week.
Every week.
It's kind of a stair step down, but it changes over the course of what it would have changed the first 7 days. So we're at 1200%, and it runs that same amount for 7 days, and then it steps down to where it drops to the next level for the next 7 days, and it continues to step down over the course of the 600.
So does that mean it's compounding weekly and not daily?
No, you're 15 minutes. The rebase happens every 15 minutes. It's just the step down happens every 7 days.
Sure. One other question here. Looking at the tokenomics, it looks like you guys have 250 BNB that went to Pancake Swap. You have 100 BNB you guys save back for development and marketing. This 50 BNB for the initial treasury. Can you tell us more about the treasury?
Yeah, we stated as treasury. It was more just a post launch treasury for marketing and setup. It wasn't a matter of storing BNB to do a bunch of buyback, because to me buyback really do nothing for the token. Now, of course, the projects running it, all that money that comes back as buyback and burns. That's what creates volume on a constant basis instead of just relying on people buying in. We're going to benefit the buying in from those tokens volume as well.
Right. So as a investor coming into TrueDefi, that treasury and everything, does any of that go back and to the pockets of the people that are investing from the beginning and everything into TrueDefi? Because typically a treasury and everything, you would be holding other assets as well. So I'm assuming some of the projects that will be using your swapper and everything, would you be accumulating some of that 0.5 that goes into the treasury as well?
No, that 0.5 will go directly back to the token. Like I said, the treasury was mentioned as something that we were, a possibility of doing or adding to if the LP gets to where it's too big, to be able to offset that. We feel that the way the token's running and the way that the technology is, that's going to build the price and be able to maintain and increase over time, and not needed of added LP and all that to it. And like I said, it's something that was an original thought that kind of went away because we're not actually implementing or adding to it on token volume. It's not something we're sending a tax to a treasury.
Right.
So it's
So
kind of,
funds be used in development and marketing, then they would just be pulled out of the treasury and just used for something else within inside the ecosystem. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's how we did it. Like I said, that initial 50 BNB basically got added to our marketing funds. Because we did a lot of marketing ahead of time, and we've got a big marketing push that's running right now with a marketing group. So all that is being pumped into that, and it's not to raise the price or to cause hype and a pump and dump.
Sure.
It's to educate and to show the technology that we're doing to get the projects on board, because that's where the investors are going to make their money from having the project numbers increase. you know the amount running TrueDefi is what the big increase in value they're going to get
Right.
from.
That is a nasty cough over there, man.
It's bad. I've had it for, like I said, it's been 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks since I had COVID, and it ain't lightened up or went away at all. So
Yeah, that'll sound good. Let me pull up your chart real quick and everything. Let's look at your chart and see how you guys have been doing in this bearish market.
yeah.
Some say we're coming out of the bearish market. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, it's looking good right now, but it's kind of one of the things you never know. Do I think that we're on a steady uptrend? No, I don't think so. I think there's another drop going to happen, but who knows? I mean, the market is looking really good right now.
Sure. So it looks like on launch and everything, you guys did fairly well. Jumped up to about what is that? About 45 cents. It looks like now you're trading at about half that, just slightly below what launch price was. Is that right?
It's a little bit above. Well, actually, I haven't checked the chart today, so I don't know if anybody's sold. We launched at right at 22 cents.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, right now it's looking like you guys are right at 21.8. So right at that 22 cents. So it's not down a bunch. It looks like you had a couple whales sell. Not too bad. I can give you those wallets if you want them. We always
nah,
use logs.
that's one thing I don't do. I don't track wallets and trace wallets. I look at it as it's your money. You sell it when you want. You buy it when you want. That's something that always bothered me in the space is everybody wanting to track wallets and call out people. That's what this decentralized is about. You should be able to have a wallet and be able to trade and not have to worry about somebody going crazy because of that.
No,
Uh,
no, I understand that. What I meant by that is we use Bog Finance a lot over at Blockstar and everything until we implement our own charts. And uh, so it always shows basically based on a percentage. You may have like a little fish, you may have whatever going all the way up. This just shows a well just because of the fact of the percentage of the tokens that they hold. So if we go back and look at the holders and everything, it looks like there's a couple of wallets that have a pretty good supply of your token. Um, so we just kind of want to address is that team members and stuff like that. If you look at the first top 10 wallets and everything, all of those are going to be over 1% of your total supply. Most of them in the from you know top five and up. There's a couple wallets that have 3% or nearly 3%, and then 1.5%. Are those team wallets? Are those just investors into the project?
Yeah, most of those would be investors. We had four 1% wallets. That was the main core team wallets.
Mhm.
And because a total of 6% was team tokens. So the first um, four wallets was 1% a piece. Then we had our marketing group set up. There was two people there. They got 0.5%, and then we had another two people that were one is kind of a project relations person. We give that person 0.25%. And then we have another one that's basically handled our AMAs and are with us, whenever we're not available because we're busy doing stuff to be able to present the project. And we
Right.
give them 5%. So that was all the team wallets, and that's how they were divided up.
And is
So,
that where that 6% comes from? Minus
yeah,
that 0.25% that you guys added on?
well, the total of 6% was divided that way. So,
Okay.
like I said, the biggest wallet was a 1% that went to a team member, and
Sure.
then it last 2% was split up between the two marketing people, and then the core. We have a basically a core team, mod group type deal.
Right.
It's 8 people. They have a team wallet. They got a 0.5% share to be able to mod and to help us in the chat, stuff like that.
Any vesting on any of those team tokens or company tokens?
We didn't invest them because all the ones that got them are people that I've been in the space with for since I've been in the space pretty much, and they're not going to be selling them because of course that's another thing that we have that we haven't touched on. There is a BUSD reward as well in our tokenomics.
Yep, I was
That goes
going to ask you about that next. Yep.
up. So
Oh, but looks
oh,
like we lost it for just a minute there. We lost you for like 2 seconds there, Matt. If you just want to tell us about the BUSD rewards.
oh okay. You hear me good?
Yep.
Okay, so the BUSD rewards, it's not a lot, but it's something to be able to incentivize to where they don't have to worry about taking out of their token amount, get a little bit of funds coming in. So on the buys, it's a 2%. Goes back to BUSD rewards, and on sale, it's a 4%. So a total of 6% of the taxes in total goes back to the holders in BUSD rewards.
Right. So as the more volume you guys get and everything, the more that they're making, and that's just an automatic process back to holders and also everybody that's part of that team. Now, do you have those other wallets like your marketing wallets and all that stuff? Are they included in getting those BUSD rewards as well as a weighted position? Or are those not included?
No, the marketing wallet does not have tokens in it to gain BUSD. It's strictly the tax related. Um, and we have all of ours are multi-sig. So the marketing wallet's a multi-sig. The actual contract is in a multi-sig. Um, the development wallet is in a multi-sig. And then we have what we call a TrueDefi wallet, which is where all the fees come back to.
Yep.
It's multi. So everything is held by multi-sig. So no one person can be able to adjust it without the other person giving an okay to it.
Yep, totally understand that and everything, and I commend you guys for setting it up that way. I guess my specific question was anything that's associated with like development and everything because it's going to hold quite a bit of the supply of the token. Are those excluded from rewards, or are they getting the largest share weighted going to those wallets?
Yeah, like I said, none of those wallets hold tokens to any aspect. There is a 29%, or it was 29% at launch that we had locked in a locker. It does not gain BUSD rewards. It is strictly for future, if we go on a deck or another sex or something like that we need
Right.
to add.
That's that contract that's at the 26.3%, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that is excluded from rewards, and that was my question.
Yes, and the thing about that is originally it was 29%, of course.
Sure.
With the buy going up, that's going to decrease its percent. But it was 289,000 and some change tokens that was locked. That gains tokens with the rebase, and those tokens are what we're using to airdrop to the people for their buying ranks.
Yeah, so now you're setting it 290, 378. Yeah.
So we harvest those as needed above that 289,000 and something that got originally locked. We had locked that for, I think it was 30 days to start with, and we'll increase that lock as we go forward if we're not needing to go on to another exchange or anything like that. But all the tokens that it gains above that is what we harvest off to be able to send out for the rankings.
No, that's perfect. That's a good answer and everything. I always like to go through these things because a lot of people will come back and ask, "Well, David, why didn't you ask this? What about all these top wallets and everything?" Because it is a concern and everything, especially when you see teams that are getting. They say, "Oh, well, we're giving out these BUSD rewards," but then all the developer marketing wallets and all those things because they have such a large supply, most people aren't getting any money at all of those rebase rewards and everything, or that BUSD reward because of the fact that it's weighted so much. And even if it's in a round robin system, all of those wallets are getting more compared to what the weight should be based on the holders.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that completely. Yeah, that's not something we wanted to set ours around. Like I said, we want the holders to get the rewards. That's how it's always been. Now, like I said, of course, our team wallets, each one of us that had the 1%, we do get rewards in
Obviously,
BUSD.
yep, yep,
But
yeah. I agree with that. I think that you guys should be able to receive the reward and everything outside of the developing and marketing wallets and all that stuff as a team member and everything. You're in this to make money as well, and the best way to be able to do that, because you would rather you guys getting the BUSD rewards than going and dumping your tokens back on the investors, right? So that I have no issue with, and I don't think anybody else would either.
oh yeah.
Um, just a couple more points here, just to make everything. What do you think your biggest hurdle has been getting projects onboarded to using your swapper? What is your sales pitch to those projects that are out there that are maybe looking for this type of solution? What is the sales pitch to those guys?
Well, like I said, the biggest thing is, of course, is the no contract sales. So stuff that goes through it are going to help their chart to be more healthy and keep their contract from selling. The next biggest aspect is it gives the chart uh, a more organic rise the way it trades. So the investors get it better price points. So it helps investors. They, of course, they're not getting an impeded sale when they buy. That's going to happen because they use that swapper. That's one of the biggest things. And of course, the way we're doing it is cheaply as possible to be able to incorporate it on other projects for them. Right now with the bear market and all that stuff, a lot of tokens don't have very much volume. They don't have a lot of marketing funds coming in. They don't have a lot of development funds coming in, and that's part of the market. And understand that. And but like I said, it's the technology um, that's going to help them be better in the future when that big volume is there. So we work with all projects according to that because, of course, everything's done in house with the exception of we have a DApp, person that builds DApps for the projects.
Sure.
We and pay him per swap that he builds for the other projects. But as far as the development of the contracts itself is done in house. So.
No, that's perfect. That was going to be my next question. How much of what you guys are doing is third party compared to having as a core team? As you know, in this space and everything, everybody always wants to blame the dev that was supposed to be with the project, but come to find out it's a third party that there's exploits and everything. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing 90% of everything in house besides the creation of the DApps on the. I'm assuming UIs. You guys are doing most of the back end work. I'm guessing on those
Yeah,
DApps.
the DApps are just mirroring the contract and being able to function with it. The Solidity work itself is all done in house. There's no external person doing that.
Yeah, I commend you guys for that because a lot of projects don't do that. Um, let's just see here. I'm just kind of going through, make sure we kind of cover everything.
Oh, and you were talking about NFTs.
Yes, NFT. That was going to be the next thing. Yep. What? Well, I want to say NFTs, but also what are some of the future maybe products or things in the roadmap beyond just the swapper and everything as an investor that I can look to benefit from, or kind of, I don't want to say hype, but what makes me hold the token long term? What's coming in the roadmap to get me excited?
Okay, so which I haven't released anything about the NFTs yet. So I guess you can be one of the first because we've always said that we're not going to overhype anything we do.
Sure.
We're ones that's going to be like, oh, we're going to do this in 6 months. When we release something, it's because it's almost ready or is ready and we're just waiting to release it,
Absolutely.
which is how we have it right now. So NFTs, we plan on releasing a very small run of NFTs. Those NFTs will actually have a utility to be able to buy and sell our token at a discounted tax rate. It's hard coded into the new upgraded swapper we just did. That's one of the reasons we upgraded our swapper. So it'll actually look for the NFT in the wallet. If that person is holding that NFT, they get a discount according to what that NFT's discount is. Um, so that's something that we're going to be rolling out here pretty soon. Um, I've actually talked with the person we're going to go with as far as the artwork itself because we're not artists as far as that goes.
Are you
But
guys going to keep that on the BSC network since your token's on the BSC network? Or are you looking at doing them on another network.
Yeah, that part of it will be on our network, just for the fact of it's going to be actually housed and working with the token. Um, we might end up bridging over into other or into other chains with the token, but it won't be as a separate project. It'll be a bridged over setup, because we only plan on having the one project. We're not going to launch a different one in each chain because there's no reason to.
Right.
Uh,
But you'll be
so
able to use your swapper eventually. It'll be on the Ethereum chain, Poly, and also on BSC. Along with your token, you'll end up bridging that over as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, like I said, the swappers are already available to be used on any network. We haven't tapped into them yet because we're concentrating on the BSC side at the moment.
Sure.
But we do have a few other tokens in Ethereum and Polygon that's we're talking to about swappers. But like I said, they already they're already set up to where they will work on any chain.
So on that point and everything, so I'll be able to go to your swapper and then select which chain I want to do it on, and it will automatically recognize that in my
Oh,
wallet when I connect.
yeah, see that's the thing about ours. We're not limiting projects or anything on our swapper. Even though we've set up our DApp to where you can trade any of our clients on ours, they
Yep.
get they have their own DApp that's set up for them, uh, mirrors their project.
So they'd be
We,
able to brand it and embed it directly on their platform.
yes, that's how we have it set up, and that's how all the clients that we have right now are doing it. We just added them to ours to make a a place where anybody that knows TrueDefi and wants to trade, they can go on and see the client tokens because they know that we've checked them out and they're able to trade them right on our DApp.
Sure. So
So
from the project perspective and everything, their community would you be using basically an API type swapper that you guys have built specifically for them, a front end with their branding and everything.
yes, exactly.
Understood.
Yeah, because we wasn't trying to house the market all to ourselves as far as that goes. We want the projects to be their own projects. We're not going to limit them to have to come to our DApp to buy their project. They should be able to have their own DApp for their investors to buy it, and that's how we set it up.
Now, is that hosted through you guys and you just share the API back with them, or I'm assuming you're
That,
not turning loose the source code?
yeah, we're not turning loose the source code, but it's according to whatever they are. If they have a DApp builder in house that can do it, then we give them what's needed to be able to do it. But the actual source code and the Solidity code is proprietary to us. Um,
Sure.
but we have, like I said, a on staff DApp builder that builds it for the projects that don't have DApp builders.
So
Because
is
most
there a fee for that as a project? Is there a
uh,
fee you guys charge for that?
Yeah, there is a fee for a swapper. It all depends on the token itself, the complexity of the token. Let's put it that way, because each of the swappers is built token specific. Only that swapper works for that token. It's not all of them together because to us that was another possible safety factor that we didn't want to have to deal with.
Right.
So swapper is token specific and is immutable to that token itself. So.
No, that's perfect. It looks like we're coming up on an hour now. I'm glad you spent this much time kind of going into detail and everything. One of the things that we'd like to ask on all these AMAs and everything, at what point with everything going on at TrueDefi, at what point does TrueDefi become an overall success to you?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's already a success. We've put out the initial that we started to do. Everything else is what we're going to be doing to benefit it that much more. Like I said, but the actual success to me has already happened. As far as we've made it work the way we wanted it to, we had the launch the way we wanted to. To me, it's already successful. Now it's just the building out to making it that much more successful for the investors that are coming in.
Right. Well, Matt, I just want to say thank you for coming on with us today and everything and being part of this podcast. One thing I would like to do is commend you guys for taking on this type of utility in this space. I think it is something that is needed, and I can see other projects wanting to get on board with this because they don't want to go change and go to a V2 contract to combat this. They would rather be able to go in, and if you guys are offering the ability to be able to have their own swapper and everything, put it right on their platform through an API and everything, I think those are great things because not only are you offering a service, but you're also giving that project the tools to be able to brand and keep within inside of their brand and be able to have that all incorporated into their micro ecosystem, but also be part of your entire ecosystem with that. So I commend you guys for taking this on. I would like to see a lot more projects like yours coming into the space that are really trying to shake things up and bring things that are needed to the space. So I commend you guys for that. I'm going to leave you and give you the last word on the podcast. So if there's anything you want to say out there to projects or to investors that maybe are potential investors that may be watching this at some point, I'm going to give you the last word in.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest thing is just come see what we're doing. Come see the team, come visit with us. We're in Telegram constantly. Plan on coming into Blockstar because we really like the way it's set up. Um, you know, we're an open book. We take what the investors ask for and we implement it. That's one of the reasons why we have all the projects on our DApp. Is because that's what they wanted, to be able to have one spot they can go to that they know is a safe place to connect to, and to be able to get all the projects that we offer, or all the clients that we offer swappers for. The innovation of the space is where this is at. The real utilities that are trying to make the space better is what is going to make crypto in a whole and DeFi in general move forward into full adoption. So I just ask everybody, projects included, come find us, at Telegram, Blockstar as we build it out, to see what we're doing, to see that we're actually here for the investors and we're trying to make the space better as a whole. That's what my goal has been the whole time. It's about the investors. I don't know. It really gets me whenever I see the projects that are out to just be nefarious and to take money from the investors when that's not what it's about. We'll never have real adoption if people don't stand up and say, "Well, I'm not going to invest in a team that's not going to show themselves, that's not going to be there for us, and not going to take what we talk about and try to implement it for us." So that's what we stand for. That's what True DeFi is, and that's what we want everybody to know and to come see.
Yeah, thanks again. Again, guys, that's Matt from True DeFi and everything. Go check them out. They do have their one of their official groups on Blockstar now. We'll go ahead and put the link when we do post this up. We're going to share it with Matt and those guys over at True DeFi. Check them out. They do have an organization as well. So we definitely want to support other projects that are coming on to Blockstar, and they're trying to change and shake up the space and bring new utilities that can be used inside the space. So we appreciate you again. Matt, if you'll stick around after I end this recording and everything, I do have a couple more questions for you. So I would love to pick your brain a little bit more. But thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll see you guys next time on another AMA podcast with Blockstar. We have one coming up tomorrow, so check back in with us and everything, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.
Have a good one.